The information provided by Trading Forex Price Action to you does not constitute personal financial advice. The information provided is of a general nature only and does not take into account your individual objectives, financial situation, or needs. It should not be used, relied upon, or treated as a substitute for specific professional advice.
Midweek Analysis.
Hey guys, this is a midweek analysis for February 9th of 2022. Alright, we'll start off with the Euro Yen. This is a weekly chart. We'll start off with an overview of the current setup I'm looking at. So since there was a strong long trade that formed right here, and then last year at this point right here, there was compact short price action that formed which shows strong short strength. So the weekly bias at the current moment is short, or in other words, price is likely to reach this pivot low before reaching this pivot high. And so as price pulled back to these levels right here, last week, if you recall, I took a short entry at 131.67, roughly in these areas, again with a stop loss up here, and more of the main target being right back down here. And then this week, I took another short entry at roughly 131.70, roughly in these levels, again with the same risk parameters. Okay, let's talk midweek price. Okay, this is a 1 hour chart. So last week as price came up to these levels right here, at this point right here, there was 15-minute confirmation of short-term long strength due to a 15-minute upward trend line being broken out and immediately breaking back in. And so I was expecting a further move up at this point. However, if you recall, I did take a short entry at 131.67, roughly at these levels right here. And this was due to the NFP release on this day, creating the possibility that prices go straight down, not giving me an opportunity for a short entry. And so again, I took that short entry at 131.67. Okay, and so after the entry, there was actually another confirmation of short-term long strength on this 1 hour chart. And that's from this trend line, from this pivot to this pivot right here. You can see right here, there's a breakout and immediate break back in. And so we got a little bit more higher push. Now this week, I entered that extra short trade roughly at this 1.3170 level, or roughly around here. Again, with the same risk parameters as the previous short entry. Now let me explain to you why I took this second short entry. Okay, so first of all, this trend line from this pivot to this pivot right here, you could see that there was a breakout and immediate break back in, which also signals 1 hour long strength. And then moreover, on this same pivot right here, there was actually a fake 1 minute double bottom that formed, which typically shows short-term short strength. However, price still reaches target height level before reaching the second bottom stop loss level, which means that the long strength was able to override this short-term short strength. However, as you can see, as price came up, a couple hours later, price came right back down to stop out that strong pivot low level where that strong long strength was created. Now, typically, this is a strong sign of short-term short strength because although there was a lot of long strength through this 1 hour breakout and break back in, and also this 1 minute fake double bottom hitting its target height, short strength was able to override that strong long strength. And so as price hit the level where that strong long strength was formed, I waited for a little bit of a pullback and took another short entry. Now as you can see, after that stop loss level right here was hit, price did give a nice run down. However, it was stopped and price came right back up to prior levels. So at this moment, price is really giving some tricky price action, for typically, if this type of setup forms within a bias, price should just continue down, right back down to its main target on the weekly bias. However, as you can see, it pulled back to regular levels. So it's quite obvious that there's a lot of buyers in terms of supply and demand, for there was strong short strength from this setup right here within a weekly short bias, but still, there wasn't enough to become the trigger for that short entry along with the weekly bias. Okay, so at this point, what I'll be looking at is, first of all, again, I took 2 short entries. And depending on what happens to the short-term price, it is possible I may abort one of these short entries so I could wait for even further pullback for another short entry, perhaps at the 132.61 levels. However, the only reason I would abort this second short entry is, again, if we get some extreme short-term long strength, which at this point isn't showing. So what I mean by extreme long strength is very similar to what happened here. So for example, if price comes down to this trend line from this pivot to this pivot right here, like so, breaks it out, and has an immediate break back in, just this alone is not enough for me to abort one of these short entries. However, if like in the previous example, if we get a fake double bottom that forms and price still hits its target height level before its second bottom stop loss level, this kind of combination of short-term long strength is a reason for me to abort one of these short trades. For example, if price just breaks it out and breaks immediately back in, that's not enough short-term long strength for me to abort one of these short entries. Okay, and finally, at the current moment, price actually broke out this trend line from this pivot to this pivot right here. And as you can see, there was a breakout and no break back in. However, just because there was no break back in, although that signals a little bit of short-term long strength, it is not that intense. So I would say at the current moment, there's actually just slight short-term long strength as of this point right here. However, just recall at this point right here, there was actually a lot of short-term short strength, as you can see with this vertical fall, but price was able to recover. Okay, so for the time being, I'll just be watching the lower time frames price action. And again, I'll only abort one of these short entries for a better entry price at perhaps 132.61 if we get extreme short-term long strength. Okay, and I also wanted to do the pound dollar for this midweek analysis. However, I did not have time to get around to that. However, for the time being, the pound dollar situation can be understood from the weekly forecast. So please refer to that for a grasp of the situation on the pound dollar. Okay, all right, so that's it for the midweek analysis. I hope you guys have a great week. And thanks for watching. Okay, bye.